A short review of health platform Guava. I downloaded the app a couple of days ago and now I want to share my thoughts on it. The app exists on Android, but it also exists as a web interface. It is separated into 5 different sections. The first section is the Today section, then we have the Insights section, we then have the Records section and the Profile section. Now first let's go into the profile and see what health trackers we can connect. This is what the profile page looks like, and now you can add sources, so you can also add data, which in this case would be maybe CSV files, but you also have devices and apps. So I connected Garmin, Google Fit, Whoop and Health Connect, even though I don't have a Whoop, I just connected the account. You can also upload files, you can also import data. What I have used this for is to import data mostly from App Bearable, which I have used previously. The file uploads have to be PDFs, photos, DICOM imaging or CCDA documents, and you can see that I already have imported an Insight tracker row, but as of now this has not been recognized. There seems to be an algorithm which basically scans these documents and then imports things like blood work data automatically. But in the free version I think you only have three credits for basically importing documents. This is now what it looks like digitizing records. Guava automatically extracts information and then it imports them. The data import can be used to import data such as bowel movement, blood pressure, etc. from other health providers. So this could be not health providers, but this could be another app. In my case, I exported the previously tracked data in Bearable and then I was able to import it by selecting basically the rows. So you have to make sure that it is kind of this format and then you can actually import the data. Keep in mind though that there are only certain types that are supported. I would like to have imported also peak expiratory rate, for example, but I was not able to. Once you then have either files imported or also health platforms like Garmin connected, I do have a Garmin Fenix 7S Pro and I also wear a Galaxy Fit on my other wrist, you then can see a couple of metrics. You can also already see that there is a timeline overview similarly to how you also have it in Garmin. You can also then add different symptoms, peak flow, expiratory rate, etc. And these are now the things I have set for a daily basis, but there also seems to be an algorithm that kind of suggests these things kind of automatically. There are now many different cards available and you can also click on these cards. We can see that my resting heart rate today was 54, which for me is on the yearly average quite on the high side. You can also then go into this. You can first of all see a graph. The graph, the minimum time interval I think is 2 weeks, which it would be nice if it actually was 1 week. Then we have a 1 month, 3 month, 1 year and 2 years. Now this is data from Garmin, as you can see, because it is indicated here. What you also could potentially have is data from other sources. I also, as mentioned, connected Samsung over Google Fit. You then can also see the different entries and you can maybe also delete these entries. No, because they are imported automatically. In terms of the metrics, there are 3 different kinds of metrics. The first one are the ones that are imported automatically. Then you can track things, but these are not imported automatically. One would think maybe it would make sense to import also the water from Garmin, which would then mean I could track it on my Garmin watch, but this seems to be not the case. So with a metric like water, we then can add manual entries. These manual entries appear here. There also is already the correlations feature, which would allow you to then see how does my water intake affect another metric. But since I haven't added a water intake, this does not make much sense. Then you can also add custom metrics. In my case, I added yearly body fat average, which is the number I update from Garmin, because it doesn't change that much because it's a yearly average. I have it here. The team from Guava Health actually mentioned that VO2 Max at least would be available as also it's an automatically imported metric, but at least as of now, this seems to not be the case. So in order to also have it on this metrics, such that I can kind of take a screenshot of this, and this would be a kind of the current state of my health, also including things that are not typically shown on Garmin, for example, on Garmin Connect, such that I would have kind of a bigger picture overview, which also would include symptom tracking, which also would include maybe sleep variable tracking, even though that currently seems to be not really supported. So now, if I go onto VO2 Max, we can see that I have 1 entry, and this 1 entry is my current VO2 Max. The question for me now is, how often do I enter this if it is something that is basically copy pasted by me manually from another app, in this case Garmin Connect. Then there is the meds and supplements section. So I now have active supplements. I also have past supplements, which allows you to basically add past medications. I went through the kind of different things I took over the years, and I also added them in the past medications section. Currently, I do take a couple of different, so basically 2 different medications, and then I also, or 2 different prescription medications in order to try to decrease the symptoms of my allergy. And then I also take a couple of supplements. I also was able to import basically the entries of these medications and supplements from app Bearable with a CSV file. Now, the meds taken do have basically 2 different sections. The first one is the schedule, and then the second thing is what is actually being taken. So these would be the data entries. You can edit the schedule, and this then also sets a reminder usually. So the reminder then turns into the things taken once you kind of check off the reminder with the things you have taken, which you then can see like this. And then you can also adjust the dosages. So let's say I actually took 3 multivitamins and minerals, and then I could also add this. You can then also add symptoms, and so I imported this also from Bearable, and then you have the symptoms. You can add a severity. Let's just say, okay, this symptom I now want to add, and I can click on add symptom. I click on swollen ankles and feet, and then I click on next, and then I can set this to 4, for example, and I can also set a specific time. In the correlations section, you have community insights. So these are correlations set by other people, which one can take a look at. And then one also has tracked factors. In this case, I was interested in whether my body fat affects my resting heart rate. And in this case, on the same day. You could also set this to a different time interval. This could be the next day, this could be on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis. The data is then separated by a threshold, which is automatically determined, and then it says basically on days in which you had body fat that was lower than 14.8, and on days on which it was higher. So basically, what is the difference on those days? And then it seems to be the case that there is a certain correlation, and the threshold for this correlation, which is usually used, seems to be 0.5%. It also, not 0.5%, but 0.005. And then it also shows you this graph, which kind of indicates visually already that there seems to be a correlation going on with my resting heart rate going up as my body fat is higher. If you now want to log something, then you just click on the plus, and then you can add a provider. You can also add a device. You can also upload things. You can also add lab results, and there is this distinction between those two. So upload would be CSV files, etc. Lab results would be PDFs, JPEGs. You can also add new medications, and you can also track different things. Let's just say, okay, this morning I actually tracked my peak expiratory flow with the Mir Smart one. Now I imported this data because there is no integration option, and then I can say, okay, this morning my peak expiratory flow was 569, and then I can also add this, and now it is updated in this view. Now, because as of currently I actually have a few things I track in the morning manually, I also have set up a reminder like this. So I have peak expiratory flow, grip, strength, which is currently not a metric that is supported. So I have a custom metric as well as symptoms. In the records section, one can now see the things I have imported, and one can also see. So basically this is the thing I have imported, and then it automatically detected this, I think. So I imported 1 row because previously with more rows it did not work, and so this is what I import, and this is then what it automatically recognized. There are, I think, only 3 uploads available in the free version. Not 3 uploads, but 3 automatic recognition uploads. If you don't go onto the profile, we have a couple of different things you can set. First of all, you have this the score, which in my case is an 81. If you click on this, you can also see that it kind of incentivizes you to do different things. For example, I added the medical checkup I had recently, and now it gives me a check. If I go into the biomarkers section, then I can have either the biomarkers separated by body function or also by panels. What I also find quite nice is that it then shows you basically the different green points with, for example, the heart. We can also see the medications and supplements. We can also see conditions and injuries, allergies and intolerances, which I can also show you. You can rate them basically how severe they are. You can also add your vaccinations, upcoming events such as doctor appointments, genetics. So you can only add basically what condition relatives of yours have. You cannot really add a gene record from ancestry, for example. You can add your care providers, and you can track automatically, so basically lifestyle habits that are within the app, but you can also create custom lifestyle habits, which then look like this.